roughhousing and get hurt or anything. So, does everyone know their address?
I do.
Okay.
1171 Stafford.
Good, good.
6:30 to 6:30.
You know what it is? Done this for a long time. Can you show me what you do if you were to catch on fire yourself? What do you do?
I'm stop, drop, and
Can
roll.
you show me?
Let him. He's shorter. I'm shorter.
He's
I'm
able to do
shorter.
this.
Let him do it.
Okay, why don't you show
showed
me?
me at home a while ago.
Cover your face. Good, Michael. Very good.
Yeah, did you give me
That's what you do in case you catch on fire. You roll around real good. Cover your face when you're doing that. You always want to be careful.
I know what it does.
What's that?
Keeps oxygen.
That's right.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
you always want to close your windows because oxygen feeds the fire.
Exactly right. But, okay, well, why don't you use the phone there and dial it. You gotta dial it. What do you dial?
911.
Everybody know that? 911?
I heard it on the older ask, what's the number for 911? And the fire department's right across the street and the clubhouse is running.
The house is on fire. Hello, Lamar. 117 West Street.
And you guys know what firemen and EMTs do? What?
Help people in, hey, buddy. Fight out fires.
That's right. They help fight fires, and they help people that get sick or that get hurt, and that's what we do.
Hey, come here.
We're going to talk a little bit about kitchen safety. He's okay. He's okay here. I don't think he wants to go up. We're going to talk a little bit about kitchen safety, because kitchens are the most dangerous place in the house, okay? And they're not a place for kids to be playing. We'll talk a little bit, okay? They're not places for kids to be playing. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to start with the refrigerator. Does anybody have a refrigerator in their house?
Yeah.
Almost everybody. Don't you have a refrigerator in your house?
Yeah, we don't have a
little girl?
refrigerator in your house.
Yeah, I do.
Well, refrigerators can be really dangerous for kids, especially old refrigerators, like some that are outside or in a garage or something. You have to be really careful because you can get locked inside them and you can get stuck and won't be able to get out and you can't breathe. So we don't ever play in refrigerators, okay? Now we're going to talk about this. Does anybody know what this is?
Stove.
The stove. Does anybody have one of these in their house?
Yep. Yeah.
Poor little girl, you don't have a stove or a refrigerator? Everybody, almost everybody in the world has a stove and a refrigerator in their house. Yeah. Now, something we can't ever do is play. She's outside. Something we can never do is play with these buttons on the stove, okay? Because they're really dangerous and they can catch things on fire. We don't play around stoves because they're hot, really hot, okay? So you have to be very careful. Don't ever play with stoves, okay? They're really hot. So you have to be really careful. Now, something else about stoves, look at this pan right here. If a little guy like this were to walk over here like this and grab a hold of this, what if that was full of hot water? What would happen to him? It'd burn him. It could burn him really bad. And kids that are this size right here, it can even kill them if they get burnt really bad. So on little bitty kids, you got to be really careful, okay? So one of your responsibilities from now on around the house is when mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or somebody's cooking, make sure that the handles are not sticking out in front, okay? You have to make sure that the handles are turned to the side. Can you guys do that? You see that? Always make sure that the handles are on the sides. That way, nobody will get burnt. Nobody will hit it by accident, because even big kids do that sometimes, okay? Now we're going to talk about climbing on counters. Never, 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 ever climb on counters, okay? They're really, really dangerous. We don't ever climb on counters, okay? Because there's lots of things that can happen. There's water on counters, and you can slip and fall and get hurt. You can fall onto a stove and get burnt if there's fire on it. Or you could knock something in, like something that's plugged into an outlet, and you can get shocked if you're not careful. So we just don't play on counters. There's also things like medicines that are up in the cabinets, and there's things like dishes that are really fragile and they can break and cause problems. And there's different kinds of chemicals and like bug sprays and cleaners and that kind of stuff all up in these cabinets, and you have to be really, really careful. They're not for kids to be getting into. Some of them will hurt you just to touch them. So we don't ever get on counters, okay?
House. What we're going to talk about a little bit today is something that everybody has. Everybody has a bed at home, don't they?
Yeah.
Got a bedroom with the bed, right?
Yes.
Right, we all sleep. If we didn't sleep, we'd get really grumpy, wouldn't we? Yeah. So what we're going to do tonight is talk a little bit about what you can do if you have a fire in your house in the night when you'd be asleep. Now what's the way that we find out that we have a fire in our house at night while we're asleep?
Listen for the
Michael.
detector. Listen to the thing, and what goes off, then you have to hold your day.
The smoke detector, right? So we listen for the smoke detector. What's the smoke detector sound like?
Beep, 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 beep.
Sound like that?
Ah!
Boy, that's loud, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
you put the battery in it.
that's loud, right? But that sounds loud to wake you up, right? On purpose?
Yeah.
Okay, so once we hear that noise, then the next thing we need to do is, that tells us to get up and get out, right? You're supposed to get out of the house. So it's very important that we have a plan. You need to talk to your mom and dad and come up with a way for you to get out of the house in case you'd have a fire in the night. You just need to ask mom and dad what's the best way, and then maybe have another way in case that way would be blocked by fire. So 2 ways out. An exit plan with 2 ways out is a good idea. Okay, right now we're going to do a little demonstration of practice on this. So what we're going to do is when we hear the smoke detector, we want to remember to yell fire really loud to alert the other people in the house. Okay? And then we're going to roll out of our bed. Okay? And we're going to crawl through our exit plan. So we're going to have Kayla practice that for us. Okay? Ready? Here we go.
You gotta yell.
Fire!
You forgot to
Okay,
yell.
now Kayla's going to get on her hands and knees, right? And we're going to crawl through our exit plan. Now our exit plan in the safe house is to come over here, and we've got a store down here. So why don't you crawl over? We're going to take that door and go downstairs with that, right? So what are you going to do? Are you going to grab a hold of the door and jerk it open? No, you're going to feel it with the back of your hand, and the door's warm. So if the door's warm, that means what?
You don't go through it.
You don't go through it. That means there's fire right on the other side. And if you open that door up, the fire's going to come in the room with you. And you don't want that, right? So you want to keep the fire as far enough away from you as possible. So we can't go out that way. We're going to crawl back our other way. What's our other way? Out the window, right? So you're going to crawl back on your hands and knees all the way over. And we'd slide that open. You don't have to do it right now, hon. We'd slide that open. We go out on the balcony and down the ladder and out to our meeting place. Right? Did you see our meeting place out front?
Yeah.
The mailbox? It's very important that you have a meeting place to go to after you get out of your house. Why is it important to have one?
So like what would you think?
You meet your family, and that way you know that everybody got out, right? Okay, let's say for instance that you go to your meeting place and you remember that your best dog, Fluffy, and your little cat, Spot, are still in the house.
You don't go back in.
What are you going to do? Are you going to run right back in?
No.
No, you never, ever, ever go back into a house.
Firemen take care of that.
That's right. That's what the firemen are for. They have special gear, pants and boots and coats, gloves, all kinds of gear, air packs to get into and help people who are stuck in a fire. How about if it was your brother or your sister or maybe your mom or dad? Would you go back for them? No, you're not supposed to. You go to your safe place, your meeting place, and you stay there. You can help the fire department more by staying at your meeting place, and then when the fire department gets there, they can come and ask you, and you might be able to help them, tell them exactly where somebody is. Well, my dog or cat's on the back porch, or mom and dad sleep in this bedroom, and it's around back here. And you might be able to help do the fire department more good by helping them that way than if you would try to go back and get them out. So it's important to remember that. So the 3 things I want you to remember tonight are that you need to have smoke detectors in your house. You need to check them once a month to make sure they work. Okay? Then you need to make sure that you have an exit plan for your home with at least 2 ways out. And the third thing is that you need to have a meeting place so that when you're out of your house, you have a place to go where everybody can gather together and you'll know that everybody's out and everybody's safe. Okay? Yes, sir. What's your question?
What happens, what happens if there's outside your house catches on fire and there's a window and the door is also hot? What do you do?
So if you don't have any way out, both of your plans are, Well, it's a good question, and it might happen sometimes. It doesn't happen very often, but what you need to do is you want to stay as far away from the fire as possible. So if you know there's fire like right outside this door, and you know there's fire right outside that window, you want to get as far away from it as possible. And you're just going to have to wait. You'll do more harm to yourself if you try to open that door or go out through that window through the fire. You're going to hurt yourself even worse than, you know, it might be that the fire department gets right there and puts that out right away on the outside. So there's just, you know, when you come to those situations, you just have to get as far away from the fire as possible. Keep your head about you. Don't try and do something to help you like that. You don't want to do something that would get yourself hurt. Okay, the last thing we're going to do this evening is we're going to introduce a little smoke in this room. I want you to notice how the smoke comes in. It's going to come in and fill the room and start to filter down. Remember, let's everybody sit down first, okay?
What about her? How's she supposed to get it?
Well, we'll help her. We'll help her. When the smoke detector goes off, we're going to yell fire, and we're all going to drop down to our hands and knees, crawl over to the window, and we're going to go out on the balcony,
Can I
okay?
drop my coat down there?
Well, just wait. No, just hang on to it. You'll be all right. You'll be fine. Okay. So we're going to put a little smoke in the room. We're going to watch. There's the smoke detector. Fire! Everybody get down and crawl out on your hands and your knees. Stay low to the floor. Stay low to the floor. Crawl on your hands and knees. That's it, Bethany. Crawl on your hands and knees. Good job. Stay low, and once you're out, stay out. Once you're out, stay out. Thank you for listening. Once you're out, stay out. Go to the meeting place. Okay, what's Bethany?
Good job. Everybody out?
Where do you go now? Where do you go now? When you get down?
Meeting
To the
place.
meeting place.
Okay, everybody inside.
No, we gotta go out to Ruth's now.
What's her name?
And don't be throwing strawberries either.
This is gonna give me a lot of trouble.
Speaking of trouble,
Hey,
did she beat you?
Who's the short Kenworth that's down the Catlin? Have you seen it? It's made into a pickup truck bed. It's made into a small pickup. It's got the Kenworth hood on
I didn't even
it.
think about it.
Nice, real nice.
There was a guy here in town that had one for a while. Well, he didn't live here. He visited here all the time, but
It was black.
there was,
What is this? This is the, what is this?
Fire rescue,
Okay,
rescue van.
all right.
This is one here, Frank, we build ourselves.
Well, I heard about that, yes. Okay. Now this carries what? Just,
All rescue equipment, air packs, first aid equipment.
lights and
all the
generator and,
lights. Yeah, generators.
okay. All right, I'll get a picture of the outside of it here. Right. And that was all built here, right in town.
Yes.
Okay,
The truck was donated to us.
okay.
Firemen built it the way it is.
All right. Now is that
All the way
the
out so you can get to,
generator and
yes, the generator.
run your cutting tools? And
Yes.
okay,
Another one on the other side.
all right,
That's the same thing.
all right.
There's a
Jaws?
job, well, just have the cutters here.
Oh, yes. Hold it up a little, so I can see. There, okay. All right. That's pretty heavy.
Yes. The jaws are
All right.
heavy too, and
Okay.
they're back in there, all that,
Yeah.
those are.
Thank you. Good enough.